Shifting your energy actually creates results really quickly when it's done. And, it doesn't mean we're not acting, we're not taking action. We can do a lot of work, but sometimes what happens is that we still stay in that limbo where the results aren't actually showing up. And we know we've done everything that was required or needed, even maybe beyond it. And yet there can be that pause. And I've watched this with clients, I've experienced it myself, and I have talked about this in other videos, but I want to reiterate here because honestly, every time it happens, it blows my own mind because of how precise it actually is. So what happened today was I got a call, and this is from an entrepreneur who, she's been in business for many, many years. And yet she still has those times when there's a sales call and the client may be, not deciding, not making that final decision. And so it can, unsettle her at times. And there was also something else going on where she felt like she had given too much in a particular situation, something she'd given for free. And there was something about it, while it initially felt perfectly great, later on it actually started to feel like there was an imbalance. And because of that, she was in a state where now she was wanting to land this client to almost make up for that imbalance. So we discussed it on the call, and I reminded her again of what her, not the value, but the state and the integrity in which she operates and how critical that is. So in this case, you know, I asked a very poignant question to really get her to see what was going on. And, through that discussion, she was able to see that she was waiting for this sale or wanting the sale, as I said, to make up for something where she felt there was a lack of reciprocation at the level that, she's at. And knowing that her energy was stuck there, it can very subtly influence her client as well to play this kind of yes no game where they're hesitating because maybe on some level, and this is all energetic, we're all intuitive. We can sense when something's slightly off, when it's not quite aligned, even if the vast majority of the experience of context is in alignment. And so this particular client, she'd spoken to her on a couple, I should say potential client. She wasn't a client yet, but they'd spoken on a couple of occasions, and it really just seemed like a natural fit. They did negotiate a different package than the entrepreneur I'm talking to was actually, knowing that this person needs that level of work. And so she decided, as sometimes is appropriate, not always, but sometimes, to make a smaller offer so that this person could get a taste and valid experience of the impact that working with this entrepreneur is going to have on her future business. And so they had that, but yes, this yes no was happening. This, I'm not sure, let's negotiate further. Like it just gets exhausting, especially if the person's already offered a smaller package. And so in this case, I said, look, you've done what you can. You've probably started to lean a little more to working with this person than maybe is even required or beneficial for her. So let's work on your energy. Where is it caught or stuck on this feeling like you need to get some win in order to make up for something else that didn't quite work out the way you now feel it should have? And so through that clarity, through that precision of pinpointing, oh yeah, I realize now that I was layering these other expectations into the situation. We were able to see where the energy was stuck on her part. And so that was cleared. That was cleared through the guidance, the coaching that I gave her in the moment. And it was a felt relief, right? Like I felt it, she felt it. It was like a shift back into her truth, into her strength, into her integrity, realizing whether this client or this person turns into a client or not, it's not going to make a big difference in the world of her business unless, of course, it's aligned, unless it's mutual, and unless that person is actually ready to work at the level that she says she's at. And so, with shifting the energy, we completed the call, and I think was it 5 minutes? It was 5 minutes later that she called me back, and I was surprised because I knew she had another client call about to happen in literally like 2 minutes. And so it's like, what, why is she calling me back? Anyways, she called me back because she literally received the payment online. So she just got a message saying a payment has come in, and this person that she'd been speaking to now turned into a client. So that's how fast change can happen. That's how easily our shifts can usher in the results that we've been waiting for or struggling with or trying to battle in some way. And when you're working on this level, it actually releases the the amount of effort you actually have to put in. So she could have held the stance much earlier in the process, but we hadn't talked at that time. And, she's getting other clients, so it's not like it didn't seem like a big thing at the time until it did. And that's when we got on that call, when suddenly she realized that something was sticking. It was not flowing, and she wanted to really return to her center. So if there's something that is being blocked, notice if you're holding either old assumptions or assumptions about whether it's another party, the particular context you're in, and or you're saying like, this has to happen in order for this to happen. And again, you're making kind of conditions, you're setting conditions. If that kind of thing is going on, just face it, just take a look at it, own it, and then release it, let it go. Shift your perspective around it, and then see what happens. Sometimes it's a one-step process, as in this case on the call today, and other times it can be, a multiple steps, because there's maybe more layers that you hadn't really realized or seen. So examine that. And if you are in a place where you actually need support in doing that, because maybe you've been trying to go around in your head and trying to do that on your own and it's not working, nothing's shifting, and you still feel like in that stuck place, it may be time to work with somebody instead and get clarity now, and stop like wasting time going around in circles, and actually do what you need to make that leap forward, right? And this is not about a promise of, oh, it's going to work because we speak for one call or not. This is not that kind of thing. It's about shifting the energy where it needs to shift. So if the particular result that you're seeking is it will come. And if it isn't, then it will clear the way for what can come, what is right fit for you, for whether it's another person or an organization or any kind of other context. Okay. And if that person for you, like you watch some of my videos and you feel very clear that you would like to work with me, you can sign up using the link below. Typically I work with people over deep intensives, 3-month coaching and beyond, but with this new YouTube channel, I'm allowing 3 sessions over 3 weeks as a way for people to get to know me, as a way for people to maybe handle particular decisions they're at, maybe these stuck points, so they get to experience and begin to learn how it is to work together and begin shifting their reality. So just click on that link below and you can sign up in that way. And otherwise, I will see you next time.